Hey, what's up? It's Jared. Do you want to be one of those people that completes all of your tasks every single day? I know that I am, and I've had times in which I do. I get in a flow state, I get all my tasks done, I feel great at the end of the day, and I start the next day out great. But sometimes I get derailed and I fall off of that wagon, and then I don't feel great, and then that just is perpetual and leads to not feeling great for a long period of time, and our productivity takes a dive. And so over the years, I've identified things that work well for me, and I'm hoping that maybe some of that works well for you. My goal here with this channel and the things that I've been sharing lately is to help take some of the things that I have learned that work for me and put them out there so hopefully you can take a little piece of that. There is no silver bullet. There's nothing that's going to work for everybody, but a little tidbit of something that we learn from other people, we implement that, and we just continue to refine is going to build for a great process. So I have some things here that I think are super important to making sure that you are able to achieve those tasks throughout the day and feel fulfilled at the end of the day. The first thing is to be clear on what you want to achieve. That means prepare ahead of time. If you're not clear on what you want to achieve, you're not going to have any idea and you're just going to be fumbling throughout the day. And it's hard to get into a flow state when there isn't a wave to ride. You have to create that. You have to jump in at the right time and all the surfing metaphors. But in order to have that flow and to get things done, you need to be clear on what you want to achieve. And that means taking projects, whatever it is that you want to achieve, and breaking that down into tasks. I've talked about that a lot on this channel lately throughout this month, the different ways that I break down my tasks and my projects and get things done. And so you might want to check out some of the other videos that I've put out recently on this channel. And then of course, click that subscribe button and the bell next to it so you'll be notified when I put out new videos. So make sure to break those projects down into tasks. Don't dwell on the past either. Yesterday might have been a disaster, and that's fine. Today is a new day. You're going to move forward. Or you may have some things that were frustrations. You don't want to dwell on those. If you have stuff that you didn't complete in the past, make sure that you either reschedule it or that you hide incomplete tasks so that you're not staring at things and they're not like just mocking you, like, you didn't get me done, look at this long list. It can be overwhelming and it can be frustrating. So if you have things that didn't get done, reschedule them and only look at the stuff that is for today. Don't look at the stuff for tomorrow. Don't look at the stuff that you didn't get done yesterday. Just look at the today view. It's very important that you stick in the today view as you are tackling today. Tomorrow is not yet important. Schedule sprints and breaks. So throughout your day, you need to make sure that you can maintain a level of energy throughout the day. So you need to plan ahead what you're going to work on, when you're going to take a break, and then how you're going to jump back in. For me, that means starting the day with a bigger task. I need to tackle something big at the beginning of the day when I have most of my strength and energy and mental capacity. As I go throughout the day and have the little minor interruptions and the different things that come throughout the day, I have less and less that's available and I tend to fall off the wagon easier. But if the tasks are smaller later on in the day, it's a lot easier. So I schedule sprints at the beginning of the day and then make sure that I put in some breaks so that I have a chance to step back. And those are planned so that way it doesn't just happen whenever and I'm disrupted and then I have a hard time jumping back in and getting back into that flow state. I prioritize tasks, placing tougher ones in the morning, like I said, so that I get those tough ones done. I also like to have a few little easy things in there too, so that way I get that feeling of I check something off. You want to keep that momentum going and you want that feeling of being able to check them off. A lot of people say, oh, it's like a dopamine hit when you get to check that box and you see that task marked as done. Whatever it is, that feeling that you get, you need to make sure that you have a little bit of that in the morning just to kind of get you going and feel like you've got some forward momentum. So for me, that is super important in the planning and the preparing process to make sure I have that all mapped out. And then, of course, executing, complete those 1 or 2 tasks from your list, making sure that you check them off early in the morning, whether they are harder things, if that's the way that you want to operate your day, or maybe just a couple of little things just so that you get that little dopamine hit and get started. It's important that you do that. Work on your top priority tasks first so that you get the things that have the most meaning and the closest deadline or whatever it is done first. If you save those things that are actually causing you a bit of stress for later in the day, you're going to have just the typical stress from the day that's going to add up, and it's going to be added to the stress that you already have for those high priority tasks. So I tend to try to get my high priority tasks done in the morning, regardless of what they are, so that way I have the stressful things done and the rest of the day is more of a breeze. So work on your top priority tasks first. If you get stuck, be okay moving on to another task. Build in a little bit of room so that in case you do get stuck on something, it's not robbing you from time that you would have spent on something else. If the day goes through smoothly and you don't need that buffer time, great. That's just more time that you get to spend either maybe completing a task for tomorrow or maybe even just being done early and you can reward yourself. But making sure that you have a little bit of a buffer built in so that if you get stuck, you can move on to another task or, put that off until later. It's important that you have that built in and that you give yourself the freedom to do that. Next, of course, after completing a few tasks, take a break and then revisit a high priority task if you had to put that off, or maybe you're stacking or staggering your priority tasks. You can stop working on that task that got you stuck, work on a couple of little more easier to achieve ones, and then jump back into that high priority one. The main thing here is that you are moving forward and that you're not remaining stuck. When you get stuck, everything else stops. If you recognize when you're getting stuck and you move on to something else, then you can come back with renewed energy and tackle that thing, and hopefully you're unstuck at that point. If you're still stuck, you can chunkify it by breaking it down. Sometimes you just can't get unstuck. A mental block, you can't see the bigger picture, whatever it is. If that happens, break it down and start taking it apart piece by piece, eating it chunk by chunk so that you get those things done. And don't be afraid to move a couple of those things forward if you have the time to do that. You can break that task that you're stuck on into subtasks and maybe even move the little part of it that's stuck and work on something else. So that way you at least feel like you're moving forward on that bigger task without just totally having to put the entire thing off. So lastly, you want to be able to forgive yourself, and this can be challenging, but don't expect perfection every single day. To expect that is not sustainable, and we cannot have perfection every single day. We want to do the most that we can and get the most accomplished that we can every single day, but that requires planning, that requires execution, and if something falls through, we need to be okay with it and forgive ourselves, because if we dwell on it for too much, it's going to ruin productivity moving forward. So forgive yourself when you fall short, when something comes up. Forgive other people if they are the ones that derailed you. Just make sure that you are structuring your day and setting yourself up so that you don't have too many of those. But be forgiving. Don't take it out. The more negativity that we stack in, the harder it's going to be to move forward and actually be productive. And then, of course, reward yourself for perseverance. When you have a successful day or a successful sprint and you get done with a project or tasks, reward yourself in some way, whether that's taking off and going and getting a coffee drink or taking a 15-minute nap or going outside and walking around or whatever it is. Or maybe if it's been a long week and you've been super productive, make sure to reward yourself and even reward those that are close to you as well. I love to share that process with my family. When I have a big achievement checked off, when something big has happened, I like to share that reward with my family so that all of us as a family can experience that win together. And it makes it so much easier for my family to get excited about my own desires and my own things that I want to get accomplished because we all get to experience the reward together. So with that said, I hope that you have a couple of things that maybe you figured out in there that work for you to help you get all of your tasks done every single day. It means being intentional by preparing. It means making sure that you are executing on what you prepared. And lastly, being a forgiving person and also making sure that you're rewarding yourself so that you feel motivated to keep moving forward. But that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks so much for checking it out. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon to be notified when new videos come out. If this video helped you, give it a thumbs up, and let's talk about it down in the comment section below. But until next time, take care, and I hope to see you back in another video.